Betsy had always found joy in the simple things, especially baking. Ever since she was a little girl, the smell of fresh bread, the warmth of the oven, and the satisfaction of kneading dough brought her a sense of peace. Now in her 50s, she lived alone in a cozy cottage on the outskirts of town, surrounded by a garden full of lavender, rosemary, and fruit trees. Her kitchen was her sanctuary, a space where time slowed down. Each morning, Betsy would tie on her favourite apron, the one with faded daisies along the hem, and set to work. She loved how baking required patience, waiting for dough to rise, carefully folding butter into layers of pastry, watching as golden crusts formed in the oven. It was a dance she knew by heart. But for Betsy, baking wasn't just about the food. It was about the love she poured into each recipe. She would bake for her neighbours, her friends, and anyone who might need a little extra kindness. When old Mr. Thompson lost his wife, Betsy was there with a batch of cinnamon rolls, the smell of sweet spices filling his lonely home. When the young couple next door had their first baby, Betsy showed up with a basket of lemon scones, her way of welcoming new life into the world. As the seasons changed, so did her baking. In the spring, she baked strawberry tarts from the berries in her garden. Summer meant peach cobbler, bursting with fruit. In the fall, she'd make pumpkin bread, the scent of cinnamon and nutmeg filling the air. And in the winter, her kitchen became a haven of warmth, with batches of gingerbread and sugar cookies for the neighborhood children. One day, after a long afternoon of baking, Betsy sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching the sunlight flicker through the trees. She realized that baking had become more than a hobby. It was a way to connect, to share love without words. In a world that often felt rushed and noisy, she had found a way to offer calm, one warm loaf at a time. The people in her community cherished her not just for her treats, but for the care she took in remembering what each person liked. The extra dash of vanilla for Miss Joan, or the way Tommy loved his cookies slightly underbaked. It was Betsy's way of reminding everyone that they mattered, that small acts of kindness could make even the coldest days feel a little warmer. And as Betsy drifted off to sleep that night, she knew that she wasn't just baking bread. She was baking a sense of belonging, a taste of home.